What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. There we go. I reversed it around, but I got it right. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. What do I also do? Oh, I am a featured content contributor. You know what? I forgot to say that. The Dove Men Plus Care. And our team, it's been one of those mornings already. Our team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world since 2020. So I always feel blessed about this because fathers and families are really, really good. I fully believe that the better fathers are, the better the families are, the better world will be in. I also am a featured content contributor to the Indie Soup Media TV network. And that's a network of independent content creators, about 34 of them now. The network's been around since about 4, coming up to 5 months now, and already has over 14,000 YouTube subscribers. So I feel very happy and blessed to be part of that network as a content contributor and also on the advisory board. And I also do some other things in the background for that network. And that's powered by our good friend, Dr. Tachi out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So let's get some housekeeping done. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. So if you've been watching either live on the replay over the last few weeks, I've been nicely saying, hey, if you are up to it, if you haven't done it yet and you're up to it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're only now 15 subscribers away from the 1,500 mark. So if you're up to it, we'd love to get to that 1,500. Let's see if we can do it in the next 2 weeks. Can we get to 1,500 subscribers on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel in the next 2 weeks? That's a challenge to you all, and I'll put it out wherever I can. Also, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. On top of that, advertise your business, product, or service on this show or any of the shows that I host or part of. Email me, dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. And finally, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please feel free. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. So for regular family, I don't know where Ryan is. I hope he's okay. The last time I communicated with him was about a week ago, but I know this is really detailing nights, heavy season. So Ryan, I hope you're okay. Would love to hear from you just to know that you and your wonderful family are doing fine. All right, we got someone already chiming in the morning. 2 people. Oh, family, Fitness IQ Cam, Monin, JJ Mars. What's happening, Dr. V? Everything is happening. How are things in Colorado weather-wise? You know you're our Colorado weather reporter, so I'm expecting a weather report in the comment section. All right, a few things. Let's get it down. This Friday, July 12th, 2024, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Let me just take this thing out of here so you can see it fully. Let's do this. 2 members of the board from the BBPA, the Black Business and Professional Association, are scheduled to be on the Morning Vibe to discuss allegations against their organization. So that is happening this Friday. So people, tell people, get it out there. This Friday is going to be another epic conversation. We do those every day. Every day we have epic conversations. But this Friday, one of the more significant stories that's been going on in the African Canadian landscape this year a lot of things going on, a lot of allegations, this, that, other thing. So I would say, tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody, get on the good foot so we can have an epic conversation with them. All right. So that's one thing down. And as I'm just going to do, as I put everything back up here, I'll do this. The two representatives we'll have on are Janelle St. Omer. She's the interim chairman, and Brian Duarte, interim vice chairman of the BBA, will be addressing the community. So that's this Friday. If you're following me, you've got the notification already. If you haven't, put it in the books. All right. Simple as that. So let's see what other comments are going on. JG Mar says, Colorado heat wave going on. Yes, a lot of parts of the United States, and even just in the Toronto area, it's hot. It's hot. And we haven't had any significant rainfall for a while, but you know what happens, especially in the summertime. You get a number of days of heat, and you're going to get that downpour. But the thing is, a lot of times in Toronto, right after it, the humidity comes back. Alice Fazuli, good morning. How are you? Long time no chat. Hope all is fine. So I know Fitnance, I know JJ Mars, you subscribe. Alice, how are you? You know what? I am blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Blackalicious. That's how I am. Yes. And Alice, are you a subscriber to the YouTube channel? If you're up to it, I'd love you to be a subscriber. Fitness IQ Cam says yesterday was hot. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. And she says, nearly popped down during my game. I don't understand. Don't understand. Alice really says, cool. All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting all right. Alice, she said she just hit the button. Thank you. Another subscriber. That means we're 14 away from 1,500. Kemba, wow. Kemba Frederick. There, I miss you, Kemba Williams. How are you, your family, and your sister and your sister's family doing? You know what? I'm going to put on a point to give you a call in the next day or two just to check in. Kemba and I have we always have really good conversations. So I'm looking forward to another epic conversation with Kemba Williams. Her and her sister run a great service in regards to real estate. And, you know, Kemba, why don't you put it in the chat, the link to your service you and your sister provide. I'd like to put up on the screen. Okay, Alice Fazuli says, high five. High five. High five. High five. Fitness IQ says, pop down, Nikki, pass out. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Wow. And also he says, I'm here to see Carolyn. Don't worry, everyone is here to see Carolyn. You're not here to see or listen to me. Alice Fazuli puts smiley face. Hey, I don't mind. At least you're honest. So yeah, a lot of things going on in Toronto this past weekend. Afro Fest was going down. Traffic is traffic. What else? What else is going on? And what were you up to this weekend in the Toronto area or in Colorado or wherever you're watching this? And Alice says, of course, I'm here for you. Support. No problem. I appreciate that. 100%. For myself, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. KeenGroup.ca. They do great stuff, Kemba and her sister, in regards to real estate in the at least GTA area and maybe even wider than that. So Kemba and her sister, great. Oh, yes, Alice Fazuli said Salsa on St. Clair was this weekend. Did you go, Alice? And she also said that Afro Fest was going down. Yes, also in the Scarborough area, there was a Taste of Lawrence that ran between Warden Avenue and Birchland Avenue went on. Fitness IQ says, me here to see both y'all. Thank you. At least I rate once in a while. And also, so he says, I didn't do anything. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Toronto's getting to the point, especially for me, the traffic is, sometimes it's not, you have to really work, is it worth trying to fight all the traffic and congestion? You know, and no matter where you live, how is traffic where you live? And if you're watching in the greater Toronto area, what do you think about this Toronto traffic that's not getting any better? And where you live, what's the traffic scene? Alice Fazuli says, I'm in Scarborough. There you go. Yeah, and even in Scarborough, that's where I live, which is part of the Greater Toronto area. Traffic is just, I just like staying in my yard these days. Colorado says, Colorado has the same thing like Afrofest. It's called Black Arts Fest. Nice. Thank you. You see, we got some international flavor. Black Arts Fest. Have you ever attended JJ Mars? And if it is, give us a little rundown. Alice Fazuli says, I hate it. The traffic. She goes, thumbs down on traffic. I agree. I'm thumbs down on it. Really and truly. It is just not fun. Kemba, I live near Western Road in the 401. Traffic is always heavy. I used to work in that area. I used to work at Western Road and Lawrence. And even back then, it was just cray-cray. Alice Fazuli says, Scarborough is insane. Yes, it is insane. And that's not even the core of downtown Toronto. Real and truly, I plan my outings very strategically. Like during a weekday, though the traffic is a little bit less because we're on summer now, I had to make a trip last week, and this is people who know Toronto a bit, from Scarborough to basically Kipling and the Gardiner. And the Gardiner Expressway is the main thoroughfare for downtown. It's around the lake, east-west. And I said, oh, this is going to be, it only took me about 35 minutes. Now, I left around 10:30. That's a different thing. But even on regular weekdays, I try to travel if I have to, only between about 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Outside of that, no thank you. Yeah. Fitness IQ says traffic was horrendous. And she goes, all the way there. Yeah, it was only the 35 minutes. I was amazed. Coming back was a little bit of a story, but getting down there, I don't like it when I'm going to somewhere and it takes a long time to get there. Coming home, I don't mind how long it takes because I know I'm going to my yard. I'm good. I'm safe. JG Mars, it's a summer event that features various forms of entertainment, art, and food vendors. So that is Black Arts Fest in Colorado. Thank you for that update. Just a little interesting story. I had the opportunity yesterday to be introduced to some young Black gentlemen, really nice guys, mature. So we were having great conversation, etc. And I said, hey, if you'd like to stay in touch, here's my email address. And they said, and then I said to them, when are you going to email me? And, oh, sometime this week. I go, what day this week? And they're going, wow, he's serious. I go, so one of them said today, which was yesterday, and the other one said yesterday. Both of them emailed me. I responded to both of them. And then one of them responded to me late last night. And this is just, you never know what's going on in someone's life. And he said to me, he responded, thanks for getting back to me. Of course, I need to say, community, I would like to be part of this organization. I'm okay, but I might be homeless by Tuesday morning. But other than that, I'm okay. You never know what's going on in people's lives. You know what? I always say you never know what's going on. It's a book under the cover. I've sent him an email back saying, hey, would love to chat and see if there's anything I can do to potentially help you. And I see he's already emailed me back. So after our conversation today, I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to make the time, invest the time in him to see if there's any. And here's someone I had a 5-minute conversation with, and now finding out that he could be homeless by tomorrow. That's something. That's something. So I just wanted to impart on that. This weekend, if you caught it yesterday, myself and Cesar Nadima Musa had a great conversation on Black Canada Talking. We talked everything from the politics of France, politics in America, Bronny James. It was a great conversation. So go on the YouTube channel, especially, and watch the repeat. Fitness IQ goes, wow. Yeah. That hit me this morning before I started getting everything set up. And then she says, indeed, you never know what's going on underneath the cover. All right. There's more I'd like to share, but today the conversations not about me. They're about wonderful people like Carolyn, and I think she can relate to the story I just shared because I know she's a server, and I know she's going to be taking a trip somewhere, and I know she's going to hear a number of these stories. So we're going to take a break on the Morning Vibe. We'll be back in a few moments after a little bit of a break, and we'll have our monthly visit from Carolyn Nichol. And we got a great subject to chat about, especially during this hot season. All right. So keep it locked. We're on the Morning Vibe, and we'll be back in a few minutes. And get ready.
Wow. What an awesome discussion and interview with Dr. Vibe. You can see why he's so successful, has so many awards, has so many accolades. Dr. Vibe listens so well to the person he's interviewing, and he loves bringing out their story to share with his audience. My name is Ramon Ray, founder of smarthustle.com, and I just had a great experience sharing with Dr. Vibe and his audience about my journey. And I want to say a big thanks to Dr. Vibe, big thanks to your community, Dr. Vibe, because clearly you love what you do, and you're a shining beacon for us all to focus on entrepreneurship, be better fathers, grow our families, and live and have great businesses. So thank you so much. I can't wait to work with you again. You're an amazing interviewer and first-class professional. Thank you so much.
All right, Raymond Ray, wonderful gentleman who does a lot of great stuff entrepreneurs-wise for entrepreneurs in the U.S. So good. Thank you for those kind words. So you are watching the Morning Vibe, July 8th. It's going to go by fast, but as I was saying to our someone just this morning, let's enjoy it a day at a time, please, and thank you. Don't rush it. Please don't rush it. All right. So for new people, but also for family, once a month, do we get lit when it comes to nutrition? We get lit by a wonderful lady named Carolyn Nichol. And today's conversation topic, this is going to be good. And this came out of, I think it was Divine Right in the DMV area talking about this, I think a month or two ago, and said, okay, we need to chat about this. So today we're going to be talking about sugar, drug, or simple guilty pleasure. Now, look, family, if you don't have questions about this, I got to wonder. Now, I have a whole pile of questions, so I hope Carolyn's ready for me this morning because I am loaded with questions today. So let's bring her on and say good morning with a wonderful backyard. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. There's no traffic here.
Yes, I know. Yes, where is here?
I am about 4 hours north of Toronto, which I'll be back down in Toronto, actually. Hopefully this week. We leave for Cuba on Friday.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
tell people about what's going on with your Cuba, because people may or may not know. So please share with it.
Yes. So there's about a group of 14 of us, Energy Shack followers, a few of my own family members. So in total, 14 of us that are doing a mission trip to Cuba. We are going to be taking natural remedies and actually mostly using the remedies that are available in Cuba. And we are going to be teaching the local people how to reverse diabetes, high blood pressure, digestion issues, inflammation with their local foods and herbs. We are going to be teaching them basically how to naturally reverse disease and use natural remedies. And then we're also going to divide up in groups, and part of the trip we're going to be going into the towns and villages to people that are really not well, cancer, neuropathy, people that can't work, and we're going to be that can't really move, and we are going to visit them with the natural remedies and go into their homes and show them how to do it. We're very excited. We are supported, or I won't say sponsored because it's totally a volunteer opportunity, but we were invited by the SDA conference in Cuba to come down. So with that being said, we're also doing a meeting every night for 4 nights and teaching people the love of God too, giving them some hope in their very desperate world in Cuba.
Wow. And when did the planning, what what was the impetus to do this?
Well, it was about, I'm going to say, I'm not very good with time. So I'm going to say about 6 months ago, friends of mine last year, maybe it's been almost a year, but they went to Cuba, and when they came back, they said, Carolyn, wow, there is such a need there. They can barely get medication, but they probably wouldn't even need it if they learned how to eat right. And I gave your name to the pastor there, and he wants you to come down and teach the people how to do things naturally, because we told him what you were doing here in Canada. I said, sure. So got on a WhatsApp call with the pastor from Cuba who had very broken English, but we were able to communicate. And he's like, we need you here. We need to learn natural remedies.
Yeah.
So that's really how it happened. And I said, well, he just wanted me and my family to come. They were going to put me up. There's a small room in one of the churches. Not that I don't mind sleeping there, because believe me, I'm good to even just sleep outside. But I'm like, no, we're going to invite everybody so that we can have a greater impact. I don't want to just come and just teach a few people. Let's like get the show on the road and do it on a larger scale. So I actually put out the email to all of our Energy Shack family. And like I said, 14 people volunteered, paid for their ticket, paid for their accommodations. Yeah, so here we are, leaving Friday.
So let me ask, make sure you document it.
Oh, of course. My documenting daughter is joining us.
There we go. There we go. Fitness IQ says such a great opportunity. And good morning. Wayne Harris is in the house saying good morning to you. How are you or the wife? We're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. This, you know what? I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. You know what? We're really stepping into the unknown. There's so much political unrest there. There's so much poverty. The food is somewhat unknown. Yes. We're all going down as mostly vegans, and we don't even know if we're going to be eating what we're eating, but it doesn't matter. We're packing the gluten-free bread and the nuts in our bag. And if that's all we need, that's all we eat, we're okay with it. But we're really stepping into very unknown territory, but like we're good with it. We've been having prayer once a week together with the group, and the donations are coming in. I mean, now we need suitcases, but we've got so many bags of toothbrushes and toothpaste and women's clothing, eyeglasses, diapers, children's games. So, people have been very generous. There's been monetary donations. Of course, we have to do lots of transportation, pay our interpreters. And I mean, there's just so much, but yeah, we haven't done anything like this in another country. I do this all the time in Canada, but to be able to go and teach people with their native plants, how they can reverse disease, and it's in a different language. I don't even speak their language. This is it's pretty wild.
But you know something, Carolyn? You speak the language of love.
I speak the language, and there is the gift of tongues in the Bible. So I'm sure I will open my mouth and out will come Spanish.
There you go. Yeah, this is, and how long are you there for?
So just exactly 7 days. So we'll arrive Friday and then we'll leave again the following Friday. And it's full. The itinerary is so full. Our group just went through everything and it's head spinning full. Long days. We're going to be having 8-10 hours of training every day. And in the evenings, then we're going to go into the evangelistic series, and then we'll be on the road for another 8-10 hours, going into people's homes in the towns and villages. But that's what missionary work's about. I mean, you just go and give your all and come back and rest. Amazing.
I cannot wait to be with you when you get back.
Yeah, I can't wait to share the stories and all the pictures.
And I don't want it to be a vision. I want to be side by side with you sharing with me physically.
We'll make a date.
Yeah, and Wayne says, "Good morning, Miss Carolyn. Safe travels to Cuba." So there he's cheering you on also.
Him and I have had some good conversations already. Thank you, Dr. Vibe.
Appreciate that. No, I'm touched. That's fantastic. That's why I do what I do. When people with the right heart, right intentions, who don't know each other, I can bring them together and they make magic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fantastic. There's so many ways we could go about this conversation today. Like you can chat. I've got a pile of questions. What do you want me? How you want to roll this today? Because I got lots of questions.
Yeah,
So
you know what? You are. I mean, that little commercial there was like bang on. You're such a good listener, and you have good probing questions. But I think that maybe I'll just start with the introduction of sugar, and then I definitely have some points to make, but I'm sure it'll come across as you ask the questions. But it's a real problem. It's a real problem, and it's a real addiction. And I think the problem is that people don't understand the problem. That's what I think the problem is. And I don't like the history of sugar. The history of sugar makes me never want to touch it. There were, but let's just understand that sugarcane and beets are like the two main sources of the refined sugar. And this is what we're talking about today, is refined sugar, that, bleached white stuff that looks like, and surprisingly acts like, cocaine in the body. But is there small quantities that are okay in the body? Is there not? But let's just go back and just like understanding where it came from as far as the plant source. So the two main plant sources for refined sugar is cane sugar and beets. And cane sugar and beets are incredible, immune strengthening, heart healthy, cardio issue reversing. So like, for instance, if you take sugar cane, it's loaded with minerals, B1, B6, B3, B2. It has iron in it. It has so much calcium in it. Like, sugar cane, if you take that sugar cane and you chew on it, it's full of nutrients. And beets as well, tons of fiber, nitrates, which actually strengthen your heart muscles, dilate your blood vessels so your blood pressure goes down. It's full of B6. It's got calcium. It's a good source also even of iron. I mean, beets are so full of fiber. So these two sources are incredible for you. They're very, very healthy. So the problem is, as I'm sure we can resonate in our own life, is the refining process. That's the problem, right? Nobody likes to go through a refining process. But that's the problem. What they do. So now we're going to take this wonderful nutrient-dense sugarcane, these wonderful nutrient-dense beets, okay? And we're going to put them through a process that totally eliminates all their fiber, which we'll get to a little later on, because that's what saves you from a sugar rush and from detriment to your body. But let's get rid of all that fiber. So understanding all of these nutrients strengthen your immune system. All of these nutrients are necessary for digestion. Why would we eat something that has nothing in it, right? So our body has a need. And if you don't have nutrients with your food, your body actually can't even digest it. So if I eat something without nutrients, my body has to find nutrients in my system to digest that. So you want to eat foods that have nutrients, because that's how it's properly digested and transported through the system. And you want to have food that has fiber, because then if there's any glucose in your food, like an apple or a mango, the fiber slows the uptake of sugar into the system. So now we have sugarcane and we have beets that are loaded with fiber and nutrients. And we put them through this refining process that takes out all the fiber, cooks them till there's not a nutrient left, and evaporates it, brings it back to a substance that's crystallized and heated, so no nutrients are left. And all you have is the sweet stuff. No fiber, zero nutrients. Wow.
All right. So I think you've given a good description of what exactly is sugar and what are the what are the different types found in foods?
So mostly, and what I want us to be is real critical thinkers, okay? So let's not just go with the masses, but really think about it. Sugar in itself is very inexpensive. Maple syrup, it has some nutrients in it. Honey has nutrients in it. Dates have nutrients in it, but they're very expensive compared to white plain sugar. So it doesn't matter where you're getting it from, whether it's sugar cane or whether it's beet sugar, it's completely refined. They're exactly the same to the body. But most everywhere, whether it's your ketchup, whether it's your teriyaki sauce, whether it's your, even cigarettes have sugar in it. I mean, but they are going to use the cheap of the cheap sugar, because why would companies and manufacturers besides the Energy Shack use a very expensive sugar that's not refined for your health? Billions of dollars are put into the food science industry to make sure that the right amount of sugar, fat, and salt is added to a food for your addiction and pleasure, not for your health. So the type of sugar that's in almost every food on the market is just that refined sugar.
Good stuff. See, I'm coming with the questions. And then how does the body process sugar?
So here's the thing, is that generally what happens is if you eat an apple, that apple has fiber, it has water, it has glucose naturally, it has carbohydrates which turn into sugar. That's what it is. So it has it's got vitamin C in it, it's got antioxidants. So when that gets digested, because there's so much fiber, all of the carbohydrates slowly get taken into the bloodstream, to the liver, and then out through the bloodstream. But even though your apple may contain, 6 or 10 grams of sugar when it's all said and done, it doesn't go into the bloodstream immediately because the fiber slows down the uptake of the sugar, and the nutrients have to be broken down to their molecular state. So it's a slower process for fruits or any of your plant foods to turn into sugar. Now, what happens is your liver takes your carbohydrates, converts it to glucose, and then it has to leave the bloodstream. And the purpose of that is that your blood, the highway of all nutrients, it's your transportation method, it has to go inside your cell. So once the glucose goes inside your cell, it goes with other molecules and energy is created. That's how your heart beats. That's how your liver functions. That's how you have energy to even move your hands up and down or blink your eyes. You need energy. Your brain actually uses 25% of the glucose for your entire system. Your one small brain uses 25% for all the glucose. Your brain is constantly using glucose. So it's absolutely necessary. But the problem comes when the sugar has no fiber and has no nutrients, because the only way for glucose to get inside the cell is that when glucose is released from the liver, it signals your pancreas and its beta cell clusters to produce insulin and release it into the bloodstream, because insulin must go on the insulin receptor, unlock the door so glucose can get in. So insulin is basically the transportation mechanism for glucose to get inside your cell.
Nice. Hey, people, especially if you're watching live, you don't have any questions about sugar? Really? Do you want me to ask all these questions? I don't believe you. All right, let me ask. What are the short-term and long-term effects of consuming sugar on the body?
Great question, Dr. Vibe.
Well, I said a few months ago, you dashed me and you said, Ryan, so I said, okay, I got to step up. So I got my constitution of questions today. So I hope you have a little while, because I'm going in today with you.
So here's the thing about sugar, the long-term and short-term effects. This is like the whole thing in a nutshell, really, is what are the long-term and short-term effects of sugar. So I want you again just to think with me about the human body. So as we talked about, an apple going into the bloodstream, because it has the fiber, so it's slowly regulated. Our pancreas, our thyroid, our kidneys, our gallbladder, these are very fragile organs. Okay, so inside your pancreas, you have all these beta cells, these alpha cells, you've got these islets, like they're fragile tissues. They're designed to work, but there's something about a wave that crashes on the ocean that our land can handle, and there's something like a tsunami that we can't. It floods everything, right? So we create tsunamis. That's basically what we do, because if you eat sugar, there's no fiber and there's no nutrients. Okay, so that's going right into the liver. There's like very little conversion process. Your liver has to get rid of it, and it goes shooting through the bloodstream in massive amounts. We're not talking 1 or 2 grams of sugar entering into the body, over a few minutes. We're talking like 1 can of pop is like 46 grams. No fiber, no nutrients. We're talking about, 1 cupcake or 1 muffin. We're talking anywhere from 10 to 20 grams of sugar. A chocolate bar, like you're getting close to like 30, 35, 40 grams here. So now you have this tidal wave of sugar going into the bloodstream. So your liver is just like, whoa, we don't need this much insulin. We need this much insulin. And so it has to send all these communication messengers to the pancreas. No, I don't need regular amounts of normal God-given insulin. I need massive amounts. And those islets in there have to all of a sudden cluster, produce all this insulin, release so much in the bloodstream because it can't stay in the bloodstream. Sugar is so corrosive. But that process, it takes a bit of time, and sugar is going, that amount of sugar is going to be floating in your bloodstream. It's extremely corrosive. And so now because it's corroding your arteries, it's corroding especially already inflamed areas. You might have some joint pain or elbow pain or finger pain. It makes the blood very thick, that kind of sugar. So your circulation's impeded. Cytokines are released to all these different sites that are getting corroded. That's your immune messengers. And if they're constantly released to a site, they actually start to break down your tissues. So your blood's getting thick, your inflammation's going high, and your poor immune system is being hammered on. Because I was reading a study where somebody had no sugar for 24 hours, and the body was able to kill 14 different bacteria, viruses on the spot. And after just 7 teaspoons of sugar, it lost its ability by 25%. And after about the amount of sugar that's in the slice of a large cheesecake or birthday cake or milkshake, it lost its ability by 92%. So your immune system's hammered on, inflammation's increased, circulation is, your blood is thick, and your hormones are way off because all these messengers are going to the pancreas. Insulin, which is a hormone, is being released. And we'll talk about this dopamine in maybe a few seconds, but let's just understand. This means diabetes. This means high blood pressure because the blood's thick. This means erectile disorders because your male and any guy's male's functions 99% off circulation. This means that your immune system is down and your hormones are imbalanced. PCOS, thyroid issues, fibroids, endometriosis. I mean, all of these issues are affected because of sugar.
Well, as I said, and going in, and the family is now reporting for questions. So that's Fitness IQ goes, I'm just in awe. Now, first question from Mr. Harris. Sugar is in everything. What are the worst Caribbean foods with the most amounts of sugar?
Well, I would say I could be wrong, but a lot of the drinks. So the sorrel drinks, very few people drink sorrel with no sugar. You've got your ginger beers, but understand sugar, it's hidden. I know it's in everything. So anything packaged, and that's why I promote, live, and teach people how to have a whole plant-based diet. As soon as you take something from a package, it's compromised. But understand that your breadfruit, your dumplings, boiled or fried, it's just glucose. It's carbohydrates that convert to sugar in the body. So there's a danger in all of it. Yes, we're talking about refined sugar, but if you eat too many carbohydrates that are from refined flours, I mean, again, breadfruit's okay, but there's so few nutrients. How much of that are we going to eat? So all of that converts to glucose in the system, and then it's stored, and then it's going to have very adverse reactions. Not the same reaction as the sugar that's in the sorrel, the sugar that's in your ginger beer, the sugar that's, in your black cake, but you're still going to have very adverse reactions.
Okay. Next conversation piece, C Nurse K. Good morning, all. Hi, Carolyn. What are your thoughts on date sugar? And kudos to you for the amazing work you are doing.
So date syrup, I definitely keep some date syrup here, but understand that it's dates that are cooked, so they're heated, so a lot of the nutrients are lost, but then it's blended. So there is some fiber in there. It's all chewed up mechanically. But so date syrup's a better option because there's still some nutrients, but you still have to use it sparingly. Otherwise, you are going to be hitting your dopamine receptors. And that's like one of the biggest things that I think we need to understand is what's happening when we consume sugar to our neurotransmitters, because that's like the death sentence for our brain. And all of these issues that I've mentioned from sugar, you may say, oh, well, it's okay. I'll eat sugar, I'll recover. But unfortunately, science has showed that when you create those detriments to yourself, you pass them on through your genes to your children, because sugar affects hormones, and hormones is what affects your sperm, what affects your eggs, your whole reproductive system. So this is not even just about you or me.
What impacts does consumption of sugar have on mental health and cognitive functions?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Dr. Vibe, because that's the next thing up. You plan this. Can you plan this backstage? What's going on?
No, I like I said, I'm doing the best I can to raise the bar, especially when you're on, to make sure that you're all in like you always are. But I want to make sure it's reciprocal.
Awesome. So this is the big one for me, is the whole mental health thing, and family. I think mental health is probably the biggest issue that we're battling today when it comes down to all of it. We're highly stressed out. We can't function. We can't think, but we're very addicted. We're addicted to caffeine. We're addicted to sugar. We're addicted to video games. We're addicted to screen time. We're addicted to things that are reprogramming the actual neurological pathways in our brain. And then we think we're depressed and we think we have anxiety, which it would appear that we do. So I'm not saying that you don't, but the problem really, we weren't seeing depression and anxiety in such grave numbers as we are today 100 years ago. People were outside, they were busy. You had to go get your potatoes to eat them. You had to unshell your nuts to eat them. there was work for your food, and there wasn't screens, there wasn't lights flashing at our eyes, creating these hormone imbalances. But with that being said, is that everybody has a wonderful reward center in their brain. So eating natural good foods or your favorite meal, it hits your reward center. Naturally your body creates endorphins. If two people have a mutual loving relationship and they have a sexual interaction, that releases all of these wonderful endorphins in the brain. But for the most part, when you're doing that in a mutual place, or when you have a meal that's satisfying, after you have the meal, you don't want to have another meal. Doesn't make you do that, because natural dopamine and hitting that reward center, it's like it satisfies and you've had enough. A loving couple will have an interaction, a sexual interaction, and it's like, yeah, maybe one more time, but for the most part, you enjoy each other's company. It makes you feel good to have spent that special moment together. The problem with sugar is that it hijacks your dopamine receptors. It fills them with dopamine from an external force. It doesn't come from within deep satisfaction emotions through the frontal lobe. So unfortunately, when that sugar wears off, your body's looking for those sensors again to fill your dopamine, and your natural dopamine starts depleting. That's why pornography makes people not be able to have a healthy interaction or a healthy relationship and a healthy sexual interaction, because they keep hitting their dopamine receptors and their natural dopamine drops. So they don't desire it from a good mutual loving relationship. They need that because that's all that gives them the reward. So you need your sugar over and over and over again, because you've lost and are losing your ability for dopamine to give you natural satisfaction from just a regular, nourishing, wonderful meal. But that's ADHD, that's memory loss, that's lack of sleep, that's ADD, that's depression, that's anxiety. Lack of dopamine, lack of serotonin. Now we're talking about a major hormone imbalance that is very, very difficult to recover from. And then you just don't get these natural joys in life. You have to have that sugar to make you happy.
I'm getting a sense that we may be doing a part 2. I'm getting a sense, because with the conversation pieces that people are putting in the comment section, plus my conversation pieces, we may be aiming at a part 2, but we'll go with the flow. C Nurse K has a question. Detoxing from sugar can be quite challenging. Do you provide your clients a plan for this?
Yeah, you know what? I have to say, and I can't mask or hide my Christianity here. God is amazing. Is that you can have years and years and years and years of, eating sugar and eating all the wrong things. And within 36 hours, you can actually recover from the dopamine. And when you stop filling your body with external forces that create that dopamine effect, your body will start producing it again, starting in 36 hours. But you really need up to 5 days. And the truth is, almost 30 days to fully recover. But it usually happens to most people within 5 to 10 days. And, there's this saying out there that 21 days forms a habit. That's kind of a myth. We've kind of made that up. There's not a lot of scientific backing for that. I've noticed that in my practice, you really need a good 30 days. But yes, you can totally, you're looking at a sugar addict. It wasn't one cookie, I had to have 10. And now I don't need any cookies. It's really incredible. But it took a long time of going on long sugar fasts. And then you go and you hit those dopamine receptors again. You're like, yeah, this didn't give me that same, and I don't like that I'm back on this. So, it can take years to really overcome the sugar addiction, but the real change can happen in 5 to 10 days. And yes, we have programs that help you do it.
And just to nice segue, on the screen, contact information for Carolyn and the Energy Shack Juice Bar crew posse, and also on whatever, most of the platforms that you're watching this live on the replay, it's in the comments section. So that has been taken care of. All right. Next conversation piece that we're going to put up here is from Hayton Morrison. Good morning, Hayton. He says, can you compare refined sugar to maple sugar and brown sugar?
Yes. So brown sugar is no better. Don't let any of your grandparents fool you. Brown sugar is no better than white sugar. It's just processed a little bit different way. It's actually just roasted in a different way. So your brown sugar is completely and totally refined. There's nothing in it. It's not like the olden days where molasses was mixed in with it. But again, even table molasses has very little nutrients. Blackstrap molasses, now we're talking a little different. So honey, date syrup, blackstrap molasses, maple syrup, there are some nutrients in it, but there's little to no fiber. So they're still not okay. They're a better option to have than refined sugar, but they still have to be used sparingly because there's just 6 grams of sugar in 1 tablespoon. That's a lot.
Yeah, the conversation pieces are coming in now. The family's pouring in. Wayne has another conversation piece. The history of sugar has been brutal to many of us brought here to the Americas. Isn't it ironic that we voluntarily allow it to kill us today after literally fighting for our freedom?
I was looking at the statistics with the whole, basically with the whole slavery trade, and there was over 12 million slaves brought from Africa to America and Europe for the whole entire sugar trade. And here's the problem is that it's so disheartening to realize that more lives were lost and completely and totally exploited than in the 2 world wars that we've had put together. But here's the reality is that when this whole emancipation thing happened in the 1830s and slavery was abolished, and I have to put that in quotes because I think it's not fully even today, but when that happened, all of these wealthy, extremely wealthy white Europeans and Americans could no longer afford to sell their sugar because they had to now pay for their labor. It was a real problem. But the reality is, even if you look around America and Europe today, this is generational money that was built on the backs of Black people over refined sugar. Just putting all those pieces together, it makes me just never want to, first of all, there definitely should be, we pay our natives today for the land that we took from them and live on, but Europe and Canada and US and all of these people are rich today because of the cotton industry and the sugar industry, which was booming industries of Black people that never got paid a cent. In fact, were completely exploited. I mean, it just makes me just not want to participate in that industry at all.
Wow, Carolyn's gone full political. Love it. Love it. Wayne Harris says sugar is the porn of foods.
It is the porn of foods. Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. He hit the nail on the head.
Man, I would have loved to be in some of your conversations, Wayne Harris. I think they were probably wonderful conversations.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We're going to talk again this week.
Excellent. And Dawn, you talked about it earlier, but you can do a little recap. How about cane sugar? Dawn asks.
Yeah, so the reality is that cane sugar, don't fool yourself. And I'm actually glad she asked that because many times you'll look on the ingredients and you'll say, oh, it has cane sugar. That's good because, cane sugar is full of all these nutrients. Not when it's refined. You're still allowed or to legally call it cane sugar, but it has nothing that sugar cane offers you. So don't be fooled by cane sugar. That's just refined. That's just, if I can, kind of answer our original question for what the show is about, it's just cocaine. In fact, the molecular structure of cocaine and the molecular structure of sugar is very, very, very similar, extremely similar, eerie similar. And the way that it affects your dopamine is the exact same way cocaine, heroin, alcohol, marijuana, friends, that's not okay for you. Sugar affects it the exact same way. It's completely and totally in the drug category.
You shared with us earlier about sugar being addictive. What are the signs of sugar addiction, and how can someone recognize it in themselves?
Dr. Vibe, what a great question.
As I said,
awesome. Do you run a podcast regularly?
Once in a while, I come up with good conversation pieces. And in the house, Dr. Tachi. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. Good to see you in the house. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the sobering conversation about sugar. We're talking like some very heavy things today. We even got into the whole slave trade thing, which don't get me started again. So that's a good question. So some ways to look to see if you are addicted to sugar is, can you drink water through the day, or do you always need something? Like you've got to have a coffee with sugar. You've got to have a tea with sugar, even a little bit. Do you need a juice? Do you need a pop? So that's number one. Number two is, after you eat, do you feel like you always need something sweet? So, and then what you should do is mark on your calendar when you've had some kind of refined sugar, be it even one piece of dark chocolate. And don't get me started on dark chocolate, because the darker the chocolate, maybe the less the sugar, but the higher the caffeine, which now you're affecting your hormones in a horrible way. So don't believe the hype. Dark chocolate may have more flavonoids, but it's killing your memory. So yeah, we won't go there. We'll do another talk at another time. But even if you feel like you just need one piece of dark chocolate, or you need something sweet, maybe you don't give into it, but the fact that you need it or you want it, that tells you that you definitely have got a sugar addiction, which probably your dopamine is a little low, because your body's looking for external forces to produce dopamine. And like I said, after about 36 hours of fasting, your body will start producing that dopamine again naturally, and your desire for sugar and external forces for that will go away. And the other thing is, just mark in your calendar, okay, I had a piece of chocolate here. When's the next time you're going to have that? Is that 2 days, 3 days, or 5 days from now? So honestly, if there's anything I've learned, and this is not scientific, if you need it more than once a month, it's an addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. Let's share about this.
You should never need it.
Okay.
That's the thing. Okay. You should never need it. You should never feel like, my body's craving for a cookie. I would really like an ice cream. You shouldn't have those cravings. That's not normal.
How much sugar is too much?
What a great question. So if we look at the human body, in order to function, survive, do everything, you need about 5 grams of sugar every hour. So 120 grams of sugar for like a 24-hour period, if I'm doing my math right. Did I do my math right? So with that being said, is that you don't need that from external forces. Your body's actually converts storage of lipids into glucose. I mean, that's why the ketogenic diet is such a big fad, is because it turns stored lipids, your fat, into fuel. Okay. Now there's a danger with the ketogenic diet, which we're not going to go into, but on a whole, the body there's no right or wrong how much sugar the WHO has the World Health Organization has some figures out there, but nobody wants to put a number on it. But if I were to put a number on it, I would say all your sugars should be consumed from natural carbohydrates, which are fruits, your vegetables, your beans, your quinoa, and you probably only need about 50 to 60 grams of converted sugar. So, you say, oh yeah, well, that's great because I had a can of pop today, which was 46 grams. It doesn't work like that. It has to be sugar that has nutrients plus fiber. And you're not going to look at an apple and there's this amount of sugar in it. It's carbohydrates, and those carbohydrates are converted into sugar. So there can't be like a real answer for that, if that makes sense.
Okay, so just building on that, can sugar be part of a balanced diet?
So glucose can be part of a balanced diet if it's coming from natural sources, like your fruits, like your carrots, like your beets. Lettuce has sugar in it. Your beans have sugar in it. So it has to be a part of your diet because your entire system runs off glucose. I mean, that's the gas in your body's engine. So you need glucose in order for your brain, your whole entire body to function. Now, nobody needs refined sugar. You don't need it at all, zero. In fact, I would like to make the argument that any refined sugar put inside the body is going to create some sort of detriment. Now, depending on your activity level, you might be able to recover from that quicker than others. But how many detriments are you going to put in your body every day, every week, and every month? So the more you create those detriments, the longer it takes to recover. A minimum of 36 hours from one cookie. And we don't just put refined sugar in once every 36 hours.
Wow. Okay. JG Mars, our Colorado correspondent, says, I had to step away for a moment, but are sugar-free sodas just as bad as regular soda? You may have discussed this. Wow.
Wow.
Well, I've never, in all our epic conversations, she's never like slammed. So JJ Mars, you did something. You did something. You done something, JJ Mars. You done something. Okay, Carolyn, go ahead.
It's funny, Dr. Vi, because I really wasn't sure how today's conversation was going to go. So, I had all my notes, point 1 to 5 and 6 and 7, but with all your questions that you've asked me, you've answered all of them. The only one that was left was artificial sweeteners. Wow.
And one of the family just got you on it.
I'm telling you, there's the Dr. Vibe going on here. Yeah,
the family,
Holy Spirit's leading.
The family. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so here's the thing, is that aspartame, Michael Tondoff, now this study was done many years ago when aspartame was on a major rise and we were starting to have artificial sweeteners, and now we have diet pops and diet sodas and everybody was on it. So he had done a study, and in this study he discovered that adding aspartame actually scientifically created greater hunger. So what it was doing is it's interfering with your neurotransmitters, and it was creating mental health issues, but it was also giving you a false sense of hungry. So after you finished the diet soda, you wanted more food. So even though you were getting quote unquote less calories, you see a lot of extremely overweight people always choosing, oh, I'll have a Diet Coke or a Diet Tea or a Diet this. So all these artificial sweeteners in this study that Michael Tondoff did is that it was creating more of a detriment and creating more weight gain than not using it. And the studies out on what aspartame does to your brain and your neurotransmitters are dangerous. So I wouldn't touch an artificial sweetener, even with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't touch sugar either. But if I had the option, I would have the real thing rather than aspartame or sucrose or any of the artificial ones.
Wow. All right. The live viewers count is going up. No surprise. All right. So then let me ask, how can people identify hidden sugars in packaged foods?
Okay, great question. So
Now, I've never had a conversation where she's saying, great question. Go for it.
read the ingredients. Okay, so it has to say some form of sugar. So, hidden MSG is very hidden. It'll come in forms of natural flavors and flavor enhancer or whatever. But sugar is listed as sugar. Now, sometimes it'll say sugar cane. It will say beet sugar. Friends, it's still sugar. But sugar is almost always listed. So there might be fructose, there might be glucose. It might say some of those words, but reality is sugar. And then read your nutritional facts and look at how many grams of sugar. And if you see sugar on the label and it shows little or no sugar in the facts, well, either they are just suggesting your serving size is maybe 1 teaspoon, or it's an artificial sweetener, which then is a major problem because you're getting 0 sugar, but you're getting some brain function detriment. So sugar is generally listed as sugar, but it might say fructose, it might say glucose, it might say, like I said, beet sugar, cane sugar. So there's a few there, but COSE, if it has any kind of COSE at the end of the word, guarantee it's some sort of sugar. And corn syrup, I mean, that is so much sugar. Rice bran syrup. These are all very, very refined sugars that are sugars that are highly heated, highly processed, as if sugar wasn't processed enough. But now they're cancer-causing agents. So, and I'm going to tell you, cancer feeds off of sugar. Yeah, that's how we know it's not good for us. Because when an unnatural cell that is an intruder in the body, when that's its main source of food, it shouldn't be yours.
Okay.
Somebody needs to write down that quote.
Yes, comment come here from Minnie on cam. Sweet and low, that many with diabetes take links to cancer.
Yes, all of that sweet and low aspartame, it links to cancer 100%.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, next conversation, please. Then what are some healthy alternatives to sugar that people can use in their diets?
Marvelous question. Because, we have a palate. We like some sweets. So I highly recommend that if we are going to, we have we have 2 to 3 cups of fruit before our breakfast item. And if you would like, put some dates or raisins or apricots, stay away from cranberries inside your porridge. Or, if you're going to have a chia pudding or something, but try to avoid liquid sugars wherever you can, or sprinkled sugars. Like anytime you open up a package, it's going to be compromised. And the other thing is avoid putting sugars in your salads. Have a salad every day, but don't put cranberries and raisins and strawberries and apples in your salad. That's another sign that you need everything sweet. Eat your greens. Get some arugula, get some rapini, eat some bitter greens that your liver loves. It will help you get over the sugar cravings. But the only kind of sugars that the body really needs, or a way to get it, is don't have tons of dried fruit either, because that's a problem. But have a meal that has some fresh fruits with maybe a few dried fruits. And if you would like to make a treat because, you are still trying to get over your sugar craving and you don't, you heard Carolyn, so you don't want to go the refined sugar way. We used to make it at our store, but, if you blend some almond milk or coconut milk, put a bit of date syrup or a little bit of maple syrup, you could add some carob powder instead of cacao. that makes like a chocolatey, wonderful, nice, delicious drink. I would soak some cashews, blend some dates in there, a little bit of maple syrup, and I would add that carob, and I'd freeze it into like a cashew ice cream that is almost like chocolate. Or you could do the same with strawberries and a little bit of maple syrup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or you could do coconut ice cream. You could take the coconut cream and you could blend that with strawberries, a little bit of maple syrup, put that in your freezer, and, you know, stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. You'd have a wonderful strawberry ice cream that has some sweeteners in it, but, you know, it's still going to hit dopamine a little bit, but not the way your regular ice cream would.
Minnie on Cam says, sweet and low was all my grandmother and uncle had. All right. Pimp Barbecue Sauce has a question. Grand Rising all, any recommendations on how to treat someone with diabetes naturally?
Wow, that's all we do all day. Get in touch with us and take advantage of that $49 consultation.
Yeah, there's the contact information on the screen, and also I'll put it up here.
That's all. We have a full diabetes reversal program. That is what we do all day long. High blood pressure, cholesterol, but our diabetes program, I think it's so popular because diabetes is, in fact, the real pandemic of the world, but it's reversible if it's not stage 1, and if it's not type 1, and if it's type 1, you can definitely reduce your insulin dependency.
Absolutely.
Our program.
100%. Now, this I think you'll like this conversation piece. From a holistic nutrition perspective, how does one balance occasional sugar indulgence with overall health?
Yeah, so that's a good question. You know, I can only take my personal example because, you know, where I ask people to be is not necessarily where they are. Or where I want everyone to be. And I'm not perfect for sure. I've just been at this for a long time and used to be a sugar addict. And now I'm a holistic nutritionist. So I try to live what I preach. But here's the thing is that if you absolutely had to, I would give yourself a natural treat, you know, whether it's going to be your coconut ice cream once a month, if that's where you're at. If you're in a place where you are having it every day and you have to wean yourself to once a week, then once every 2 weeks, then once a month, where I'm at in my life is that I just reserve it for, is it my birthday or anniversary or a special occasion, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I don't go out and get or make sugary or treat things. And I don't even desire it. Our anniversary came and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with the cake. I don't even want it. That's not the old Carolyn, but the cleaner and cleaner and cleaner you eat, you lose your desire for those things. So I'm going to say maybe 3 times a year, I might have a slice of apple pie with vegan ice cream, maybe. Yeah. So, and that really should be no time of year. I should not even want that. But again, if for you, it means you're doing it every day and you have to go to once a week, twice a month, once a month, that's how I started. And slowly, you can get yourself off of sugar.
This is why you do a consultation with Carolyn. Thank you very much on doing that. Now, okay, the family's coming in even more now. So Pimp Barbecue Sauce says, but my aunt speaks French, though. Do you speak French?
You know, I've got 3 amazing children that are fully fluent in French that would be happy to be my translators. So yeah, we've got some interpreters for you.
There you go. No excuses. She's eliminating excuses. Minnie on Cam says, but I crave salt more than sugar.
Yes. So, and that's interesting because salt is going to do the same thing to your dopamine sensors. So depending on the type of human you are and your DNA makeup. And the other problem is people that generally crave salt are generally people, and not trying to blast you or anything, my dear Cam friend, but are those who are major internal stressors, because your adrenal glands get fatigued. So when you have fatigued adrenal glands, your body wants salt because it helps it function better. So anyway, maybe we didn't have a conversation, my dear friend IQ.
Okay, yes, because Mignon Cam and Fitness IQ Cam are running buddies. They are running. Oh, Pimp Barbecue Sauce says superb. I love that. And he also says, I'm allergic to excuses. I like that. I like that big time. All right, let's ask, how does sugar consumption affect children differently than adults?
Wow. What a question. So great that you asked that question.
And before we go any further, is it me, but I'm noticing a lot of overweight children these days.
Yeah, our food's killing them. And we become lazy, right? We become lazy as parents because it's just too convenient to quickly order in food or pick up food. And that's the problem, because remember what I said, that there's an absolute food science going on to find out how much sugar, fat, and salt is needed in food to make us addicted, which means major issues with brain health when you are creating an addiction. So remember what I said, that about 25% of the glucose that the body uses is used for the brain. A brain that's in development, which is a child going through so much development, uses even more. But if you give it the wrong glucose, it has the opposite effect. So children need lots of fruits, tons of vegetables, lots of beans, healthy rice. They need tons of grains, like healthy grains, not wheat grains. They need millet. They need buckwheat. They need these grains that turn to glucose, because that's the fuel the brain runs off of. So when your child fills their body, or a child fills their body with refined sugar, leaving little room for the healthy carbohydrates that turn to the right sugar, now this poor little child has their dopamine sensors inhibited. They can't even get that dopamine rush from riding their bike because all they're thinking about is sugar. And you create a hormone imbalance in a child who's, mamma mia, they're like, that's all they're doing. Like, this is hormone balancing time for a child. So what does that mean by the time they get to 16, 18, now they're in their 20s or 30s and wanting to create a family? It's so detrimental that we would even give our children sugar. Yeah, and we do it as a reward for them. Here, good job on your report card. Let me give you some poison. Take them out for a bike ride. Get them a trampoline, like those are great rewards.
Okay. Yeah, you're answering my next alleged and I was going to say, what suggestions do you have for parents in managing children's sugar intake? Any other things other than what you suggested?
Yeah, so mom of 3 and 3 grandchildren, so like totally get the parenting life. So what I would do with my kids is I created dessert days. Okay, so their dopamine's always going to get hit. At school, they get a treat from their teacher, their friend, like they're always in the sugar craving mode. So when they come home and I say no sugar, that's like misery. So we created dessert days. So 3 out of the 7 days of the week, those are the times that we're going to have sugar, and we're making the treat ourselves. So that means that we're going to make our tropical ice cream, where we would put pineapple and mangoes frozen with some coconut cream, little bit of maple syrup, and we blend that up. And that was like an ice cream treat. Or we'd make that frozen chocolate drink, something like that. So I would feed it. I would give them limited dessert days. It wasn't every day. And yeah, I would also use it as bribery, because the day that we'd have a dessert day, for sure, that's the day that I am making the lentil shepherd's pie that nobody likes to eat. Well, then you don't get dessert.
Now, I heard a notification about, do you have something at 10:30?
I have nothing except.
Oh, good. We going in then. This is good. This is good. We're going to go on. So Minnie on Cam says, yes, I've been treating my bipolar disorder. I notice the salt more than sugar craving. Sugar is bitter for me and salt is my happy place. I need a consultation to make a baseline meal plan. Well, if you need that consultation, let me put it up on the screen again, but it's already in the comment section, because I know you're watching on YouTube. If you go through your comments section, it's there earlier on, but there it is. And
I'm sorry, because I thought that message came from Fitness IQ. That was from our new person, Cam. Yes.
Me on Cam, but both of them, they run together. So,
okay.
right. So there's a good thing. She also asked, any suggestions on anti-inflammatory diet for autoimmune disease? Like, okay, that's a consultation question, right?
Yeah, that's a consultation question. So I have an exact protocol for an autoimmune disease protocol. It's an 8-week protocol. So just get in touch with me. We'll book the consultation, and we will get you started. But it definitely includes no sugar.
There you go. Well, sugar is not her jam. Salt is. So there you go. Right?
Yes.
Pimp Barbecue Sauce says, the Dr. Vibe Show, yes, I'm going to let my aunt know, and I'm already subscribed to your channel, which is the best show on YouTube right now. Oh my.
Look at that, Dr. Vibe. You're being loved.
Well, I'm humbled by that. Thank you for your support. Share it out. Thank you. Hayden Morrison goes, where does eating raisins rank on the sugar scale?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're pretty high in sugar, but they have fiber and they have nutrients, lots. They have tons of iron in them, phosphates, potassium. So you don't really need more than 2 tablespoons in like your porridge. And that would be like, for an average person, you're pretty tall guy, might even be too much, but 2 tablespoons should be plenty. But they're very high in sugar, but because they have the fiber and the nutrients, the sugar is brought into the system a lot slower than refined sugar would. All
right. How does societal and cultural factors influence our consumption of sugar?
Yeah, well, if we just look around us, I mean, you think Tim Hortons is selling coffee, but they're really selling sugar. You think McDonald's is really selling burgers and fries, but sugar's in everything. It's in everything. And so it's kind of become the norm. But here's the problem, is that we use sugar as like the reward. Someone does really well, or we're going to celebrate. There's always a cake. There's always a dessert. It's become the societal norm to congratulate and reward somebody with sugar. And that's a real problem. I mean, we even use it in endearing, hey, sweetie, honey, right? So we do that. Like, sugar has become like the love of our lives. It's become the love of our lives. That's the reality. I mean, nobody really drank coffee until sugar came on the market. Right? So people weren't even smoking that much until Camel decided to add sugar into their cigarettes. And then smoking took off. So like, sugar is weaved through every area of our society, unfortunately, to us. And I mean, I don't, we're not ignorant people, but I think most of us don't even realize that we're addicted on all levels. And most people are consuming enough sugar the day to actually bring their immune system down by 92%, as I was saying before, because it's in everything. It's in your bread, it's in your muffins, it's in your cereal, it's in your ketchup, it's in your teriyaki sauce. You think you're having your vegetables and your chicken with the teriyaki sauce. There's so much sugar in that. Without sugar, it's the salt for food. It enhances the flavor and it hits our dopamine, makes us feel good, but it's in everything. We have got to cleanse ourselves, family.
Good stuff. Minion Cam says, and the alcohol. And I was going to talk, she's reading my alleged mind. Talk about sugar and alcohol.
So you for sure can get some alcohol that doesn't have a lot of sugar. And you know what? A glass of red wine, for the most part, is only 1 gram of sugar. But the carbohydrates that are in it, and of course the alcohol ferments carbohydrates, and we know that alcohol is already fermented. So in the system, it creates a horrible sugar effect because of the fermentation process. So you can look at your beer can and you can look at your glass of wine, but don't fool yourself because it shows so little sugar per cup. It's the carbohydrates in it with the fermentation that create this fermented sugar into the bloodstream. Now you don't just have acidity, you have fermentation. So you are actually killing cells while you are corroding them. Yeah, I don't believe alcohol should be legal, actually.
Okay. Pimp Barbecue Sauce says, I'm a bit off topic, but any thoughts on marijuana, good or bad?
Horrible, terrible. It's a carcinogen. It actually hits dopamine and creates cravings for sugar because you want something else to fill that dopamine gap that you just artificially filled it with marijuana. And it actually corrodes brain cells. So I know people don't like to hear this, but marijuana makes you stupid. Yeah, that's like the scientific answer.
Okay. Dr. Tachi says, interesting. And Pimp Barbecue Sauce says, I knew it. So there you go. Let me ask also, what changes can be made at a community or policy level to reduce sugar consumption?
You know, I don't mean to overuse the cliche that knowledge is power, but my people die for a lack of knowledge, says the good word. So when you know, and you can, it's something to know and deny and say, well, I don't have a sugar addiction, but like, look at your food. Look at what you're eating every day and think about how much sugar, like refined sugar, not talking about your fruits or your dried foods, how much refined sugar is actually in the sauces, the things you have, the amount of carbohydrates you consume, the packages. And when you know, and when you can admit that, you know what, this is a problem, and try to put yourself on a sugar fast, if it could start with you and you could see how your body feels without the sugar, you'd probably be more motivated to try to make some healthy changes in your household. Because I believe, you know, that it begins in Jerusalem. It begins, then it goes to the uttermost parts of the world. So start with you, start with your household, and then you can start making changes. Like when you go to a party or when you have a child's birthday party, maybe you aren't going to put out, you know, yes, maybe there'll be a cake, but there won't also be the bowl of candy, and there won't also be, you know, all the sugary drinks. So you could start making changes like that, and you will notice everybody feels better. And when you're going out with your friends, just be like, you know what, instead of going to get a coffee and a donut or whatever, let's go for a walk in the woods. I know a great park. So you become the change that the rest of the world needs to see, but let it begin with you. And Energy Shack is such a great way to start, if I can say, because we have our Healthy Home program coming up in October, and Dr. Vibe, we haven't even advertised yet, but it will be a day for families and children, taking kids in the kitchen, showing them how to make healthy meals,
Nice.
teaching them how to not be picky eaters, how to love their vegetables. This is, we're looking for sponsors. So if your company can invest in that, we want to make it free for the entire community, but it's going to come in at an exuberant cost. So if you want to partner with us, we would love that. It's going to happen in October, and we are going to teach families on how to make healthy meals and teach kids how to make it themselves.
We need to talk offline about this, but I'm going to say something right off the bat. When you get back, we need to talk, and we need to, I'll help you with this. We need to approach the Toronto District School Board.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely, 100%.
Toronto District School Board, YMCA, all these organizations that deal with young people We got to do a blitz. So
100%.
I'm more than happy to work with you on that. And you and I were on a conversation. We won't say where it was, about a week ago, in the last week. And you and I were in the same digital room together. But
yes, we sure were.
Yes, and he did more of that on the weekend. He did about a total about 5 or 6 more hours.
Wow.
And actually I recorded one of them, so we'll definitely need to sit and watch some of that together. All right, let's and again, there's the information to contact Energy Shack Juice Bar on the screen. Again, it's in the comment section on all the platforms. Let me go here. So Alice Rosuli says, to answer the question, sugar is both. I don't know, maybe it's if you can. Okay. Dr. Tachi says, yes, it's interesting how many of our outings are centered on food. I'm always like, can we do something besides eat?
Right.
And out here, you know what? Here's an interesting area maybe want a place to reach out to. Minnie on Cam says, food banks just hand out sugar.
Yeah, because it's cheap. That's the problem. It's cheap. But
you know, there's another potential target.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, because could you imagine if you could, at a food bank, you setting up there and doing a cooking demonstration
with simple beans and rice and cabbage, which is not expensive.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, that's so
great.
much. There's so much.
Mini on Cam, that is a great thought process about that in regards to doing something. Like, I could see Carolyn and the team doing a food bank display, because all the people that come in there, it would be great education. It would be a win for. We need to chat about that. Remember that we got to chat about that. I think because again, the food bank demand is just growing higher and higher, and then a great exposure for you and the organization. Great exposure.
So
okay,
Dr. Vibe, because I know it's like hour and a half. This is an amazing audience. Not that I don't mind to be here, because I'm happy to be here, but I do want to let the audience know, because I don't know a lot of people that don't have a sugar addiction. You know, like it's so rare, unless you're intentional about not eating sugar. It's in all of us. So we do, I mean, outside of the consultations, we also offer, we're doing, I don't know if you saw it, Dr. Vibe, but we're doing a 1-day retreat. So we have 4-day and 7-day retreats, which start in November. But in August and September, you can just come for 1 day. And it's $299 right now. It's $275 if you get on the early bird and book it before Friday. But you come for 1 day and we will detoxify you. We will teach you how to make the food. We will show you the natural remedies. We will, put you through the exercise. It'll be a full day, but even just 1 day, let us get you started. Wonderful. And again, contact information is there on the screen, family. Man, and the family, people are not letting you go. So I'm good. I'm so good because I was trying to be gentle with people's time. Well, the thing is, and it'll be addressed in just a second. Pimp Barbecue Sauce says, I wonder if there's any correlation between sugar and phone screen addiction. So the only real correlation between that is that both of them affect your neurotransmitters. And so you get a rush of dopamine, but artificially induced by your screens. You get a bigger one artificially induced by your sugar. But that's the problem, is that when dopamine is not produced through natural, healthy food consumption or healthy relationships or laughter, then your body stops producing it, because your screen addictions, your sugar, your pornography has taken over. So that becomes the problem, is that when your body's not producing it, when those factors are gone, you're down in the dumps. But people who don't add these factors into their life, their dopamine's here. Every day is a good day. I mean, and again, I'm not the perfect person, but like, I just besides the Dr. Vibe show, I don't look at any social media. There's just like, there's something to say about protecting your brain.
Yes.
Just eating healthy food.
Your eye gate, your mouth
frontal
gate,
lobe.
your ear gate. Yes, very
100%. So dopamine is high in people that just have a high off of life. There really isn't a bad day, but you can't battle that when there's constantly screens, constantly sugar, constantly illicit sex. Then your dopamine doesn't produce properly. And when those situations are over, you stay down in the dumps, and we call it depression. We call it mental health issues, but it's fixable. It's not like your serotonin's low. You've just produced this situation, but it's fixable. Anyway, that will come through our programs if you need that help. I'm not a psychologist. You're fixable.
But what you eat has a determinant on who you are.
Yes.
Right? So this is true. Alice Fasuli, you always see her drinking water. LOL. She got me on it too.
Yes.
Okay. Claudette Marshall. Again, this is a consultation comment. Claudette says, how do you do a sugar fast? Consultation.
You got to call me.
Consultation. Yes. Alice Fazuli goes detox. That's part of it. But we all have to realize a lot of times we're told how to do things, but we don't know how to do them. Yeah. So that's why you bring the expert like Carolyn in nutrition.
Yeah, we know we have to do it, but we don't know how. And there's a number of fasts on our website, but we actually have a specific one that doesn't even have carrots in it. So very, very, very low sugar bitter greens. But it'd be good to do the consultation first so I can assess 100%. If that's the best one for you.
100%. I have some carrots and I want to make some carrot juice. You just remind
Not pure carrot juice. It's too much sugar, Dr. Vibe.
So what do I do with the carrot?
You have to put some carrots, no more than half your glass of carrots. And then you add cucumbers, celery, spinach. Okay. It's not that fun anymore.
No, but it's fun. It is fun because it's going to make me live longer.
Right, right.
All right. Don Harris says, will this session be available on YouTube later? Yes. After it finishes, wherever you're watching it, you can watch the replay. And Don, if you're not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, if you're up to it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and tell people about it. All right, let's continue on. Because I said, Carol, I'm going all in today. I always love you to give personal testimonies. So do you have any recent personal testimonies from the Energy Shack Juice Bar in the area of reversing sugar?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is like a daily occurrence. So, we have clients that go through a 30-day or 2-month program. But I was talking with one of my clients who has to have sugar. Like, when we first did the intake, she's like, it's real. Like after every meal, I'm looking for that sweet. Like I can't get off this sugar. I don't know what it is. We did a 5-day juice fast, and about 2 weeks into the program, I called to check in how she's doing because now she's into eating. And the reason why I called after 2 weeks is because we have nutritionists that guide our clients. So I'm not involved in their everyday life. But I, pop my head like the good teacher in just to see how everybody's doing. And she said, like, I have to pinch myself when I go to the grocery store. It's like, I don't even want to walk by the dessert aisle. Like, and even if I did, it's like detestable for me, she said. She said, it's just like, I'm just like, I used to eat that. So this is just one recent conversation we had, but it happens all the time. And I'm actually right now working with a young person, and this is the whole marijuana piece, who's like sugar, and he's young, he's in his 20s, but he has a very debilitating arthritic condition. Ow. So we got him cleansed, got him off the sugar, but can't quite kick the marijuana. And he's noticed, he put the pieces together. He's like, I don't even want sugar. I have no desire for it, which is so strange to me. But after I have a joint, I want it again. What's happening to me? Yes, because you hit dopamine, and then dopamine says I want more. And marijuana, everybody gets the munchies after having a joint because you're affecting your dopamine receptors. So, he's definitely trying in a work in progress, but like he's seeing those pieces come together.
The aha moments. The aha moments.
Yes, but almost all clients, I'm not even saying almost all clients have this incredible sugar cleansing experience where they're just like, I can't believe I don't even want the sugar. This is weird. It's not weird. Your body's so nourished. And if that's one thing that I can kind of leave with you as a takeaway, is that your body is generally screaming for a lot of things, and you think that means sugar or chips, but it's because you're so nutrient deprived. When you have our juices and you follow our program, it's so nutrient dense with so much fiber, so much liquid nutrients through the juices and then through the foods, that your body's so nourished. It's like it's calling for nothing except an early bedtime and exercise.
Okay, so let's leave this as the final conversation piece, and thanks for making the time to share with our family as always. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. What trends do you foresee in the future regarding sugar consumption and public health?
I'm so sad to say, I think that quite a few people's eyes are opening, but it's a small group of elite people that lead the masses. And since we're such an addicted people and we lack self-discipline and temperance, that's a real problem with humanity today. I see it only getting worse, except for those people whose eyes are opened and who are just like, you know what? I'm putting away these devices. I'm getting off the sugar bandwagon, and I'm going to do something good for me. But unfortunately, with the way that food science is going, billions of dollars are being pumped into there, sad to say, by our governments, so that we can figure out how to make sugar more hidden inside our foods, because they know it's an addiction. They know it makes you do what they want you to do because you need that next pot, because then you will go to the fast food restaurants. You will go and buy more cigarettes. You will get more marijuana. These are all things that make our government very, very, very wealthy, and the wrong people wealthy. So I see it only getting worse, but I'm hoping that, we could somehow, once this goes on your YouTube, like, let's blow this up. Let's get this YouTube across the world. This is like life-changing information. I'm hoping more people will wake up and just like, let's get a strong mind and let's get some self-discipline happening, and temperance, and, really caring about our body and our mental capacity, and be willing to break those addictions.
And finally, what role do you think education and awareness play in changing our relationship with sugar?
Well, I'd like the audience to tell me after all this education today.
Nice take. Nice take. Well, audience, you're here now. Anything you want to? Oh,
is anybody going to leave now and go get a chocolate bar?
Pimp Barbecue Sauce goes hashtag defund the powers that shouldn't be. Love that hashtag. Carolyn, I want to say, well, thank you. And I'm glad that you made space. And who could not make space with that lovely background? So this is just so relaxing. But thank you for all that you, your family, and your team have done, are doing, and will be doing. We're speaking of Cuba. We know that Cuba is going to be an incredible experience.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And if anybody does we're looking for used laptops that are still working. We're looking for used cell phones. We need eyeglasses, reading glasses if you're not using it. 1970 Ellesmere Road in Scarborough. There's a Whisk gluten-free bakery. And it's not too late to make a monetary contribution. We aren't a not-for-profit organization, so you will get a wonderful thank you, and I'm sure the Lord of Heaven will bless you. If you have a business, then I can give you an invoice that will be a business write-off, but We are still just taking whatever donations we can until Wednesday. And again, if you do need a one-on-one conversation with me, just reach out, join one of our retreats, book your consultation. There's lots of ways for us to help you.
Well, you and I will be talking within the next 24 hours for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, audience, for staying and being so engaged and asking so many wonderful questions. You guys are a great family. I hope this was informative. I hope everybody is going to make a better decision on what they eat and ditch the sugar because, friends, it's a drug.
Yeah, and I can only speak for the Toronto area, but one of the biggest challenges people are talking worldwide is healthcare.
Yeah.
And it's in a lot of, I noticed over the years, it's not getting any better.
Of course it's not, because our food is not getting better. And you know what? Good food's available. It's available, affordable. I know that people are saying the food prices
Carolyn knows I will jump in there. I thought eating nutritional food would be expensive. It isn't.
Listen, dried beans, brown rice, cabbage, apples, bananas, they're still the cheapest food on the market. That's real.
Bananas. What about peaches?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're buying your fruits locally, that's the best way to go. There's still lots of pesticides on it, but get your fruits, get your vegetables locally as much as you can. Try not to get too much imported stuff. And when the winter season, I know we don't have a lot of options, but just deal with it. We're in Canada. But truthfully, eating plant-based does not have to be expensive. It's very affordable. Yeah. And we do tons. We just did an online cooking class. We have another one coming up in less than a month. So for $10, you can come in and learn how to cook naturally. I mean, we're really if you are not following, by the way, can I give a plug?
You can do whatever you want.
If you're not following the Energy Shack on Instagram, it's the Energy Shack Juice Bar. It's not Energy Shack, that's a hacked account, but the Energy Shack Juice Bar, because we are always doing free sessions or like low cost sessions, $10.
Yeah.
Online cooking classes, talks, and we have tons of videos on our YouTube channel, free information. So jump on it.
Make a decision and take action.
Yes.
That's what it is. And Dr. Tachi says $10 is a deal. It is. The only reason I didn't make this last one, I had a conflict, but I have a whole binder of recipes, family.
Yes.
I have a whole binder. Okay, we'll talk about that offline. It just came in my alleged mind. As always, to you, your family, your team, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace, and we will talk definitely before you leave. But I am excited because there's going to be some transformation going on in Cuba. And it's interesting. Lots of people, when they go to Cuba, they say, oh, the food ain't great, this, that, and the other thing. But they should meet you. Right? Maybe you'll be doing some stuff with resorts in Cuba down the line. There's a conversation there.
We're going to see what the Lord will do.
All right. You take care, be well, and keep the faith.
God bless you. See you later, family. Thanks for listening to me.
All right. Thanks for offering and sharing. Take care. All right, family. That is it. What an epic conversation. Was that amazing or what? Come on now. All that information you got, that was just phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, let's close it out here. Oh, there's another comment here. Dr. Tachi says, thanks, Carolyn. She says, thank you back. No problem. All right, a few things here. We got, this is a long one, but it was a great way to start the week. As always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, like some of you have, but if you haven't, would love you to. We're getting close to that 1,500 mark. You know what? Maybe I'm going to talk with Carolyn about something. Maybe we can do a giveaway. Like when we hit our 1,500th, maybe we can offer a complimentary consultation with Carolyn. Idea there. To advertise your business, product, or service on the Dr. Vibe Show, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. Also, Join the Discord group. Keep the conversations going offline at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Again, this Friday morning, coming up, Janelle St. Omer, and interim chairman, and Brian Duarte, interim vice chairman of the BBA, will be addressing the community. I got to change that. Sorry, but they're addressing the community. Also, Hayden Morrison's going to be part of that conversation. So, Hayden, if you're watching live, yes, I'm mentioning you. All right. Before we leave, always special offer, consultation with Carolyn for $49 instead of $110 when you mention the Dr. Vibe show or Dr. Vibe in the email. Email her at info at energyshackjuicebar.com. Now, remember, she probably won't be able to. You better do it quick if you want to get a consultation before she goes to Cuba. Again, if you have any questions, email her, info at energyshackjuicebar.com, and put the Dr. Vibe show and say you saw her on that. Contact information for Energy Shack Juice Bar, all there. I put on the screen a few times. Again, it's in the comments section. A few things. Let's do some things here. If you want to get a hold of Ryan Knight, RyanOneilKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99, and then email workwithme at RyanOneilKnight.com. I'm also just going to put his contact information in the comments section. Before we exit, let me just put it all in all the different platforms. So there's Ryan's contact information on all the platforms. If you want to get a hold of me, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the drvibeshow.com, X/Twitter at drvibeshow, email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. That's it. That's all. I'm actually going to put all that contact information in all the platforms just to make it happen here. We got that done. Minnie on Cam has a comment here. She said, I would love that low-income budget, that my low-income budget would be make you very happy. Well, have a conversation with Carolyn. See what, even some small things that you can incorporate that are very cost-effective will make a positive difference. I believe will make a positive difference. And finally, you can watch replays of the Morning Vibe at the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube, and that's it. Wow, quite a conversation. This is setting up for a really epic week because, again, BVPA on Friday. So we're going to close it out with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember, just don't manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. I would suggest you watch the replay of this because there's a lot of good information that was given out here because your health is your wealth and your wealth is your health. I want to say thank you to Kemba Williams for liking it and Morlan Allen. Good. Thank you for liking the conversation. We will see you on Friday, if not between. Again, follow on YouTube. Notifications. Want to get to 1,500. Want to get to 1,500. Let's see if we can do it by Friday. Wouldn't that be amazing? God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good.